They call her Liberty. But if you look closer, her face doesn't smile. Her torch doesn't wave. And her stance, it's not of celebration, it's of burden. You see, the Statue of Liberty was never about freedom. It was about responsibility. Think about that for a second. We built the tallest woman in the world, not to dance, not to comfort, but to hold fire, to carry light, not just bask in it. The torch isn't a gift, it's a weight. People love to quote the poetry, "Give me your tired, your poor," but few ever talk about what comes next. What happens after you open the door? What happens when the world walks in, broken, hungry, angry, and hopeful all at once? Liberty isn't easy. It demands maintenance, it demands endurance, and maybe it demands something even harder: honesty. The statue was born out of contradiction. The year was 1886. The Industrial Revolution was roaring like an untamed machine. Ships lined up at New York Harbor, carrying people from everywhere, some chasing dreams, others running from nightmares. And there she was, a Roman goddess cast in copper, towering over the chaos, pretending to promise paradise. But her message was never "welcome home." It was "prove you belong." That's the part history forgets. Lady Liberty was not a symbol of rest, she was a challenge. Her torch wasn't there to light the way to comfort. It was to remind the world that light, by definition, exposes everything, the beauty and the flaws. She was designed in France, forged in revolution, and given to America not as praise, but as a dare. Edouard de la Boulaye, the French thinker who conceived her, wasn't congratulating the United States. He was testing it. Testing whether a country born in freedom could survive prosperity without losing its conscience. When the statue arrived, America was divided not by war anymore, but by wealth. The Gilded Age glimmered on the surface while poverty festered underneath. The same ships that carried immigrants also carried illusions that freedom was free, that equality was easy. But the Statue of Liberty didn't blink. Her gaze was fixed forward, her right foot already stepping ahead. She wasn't waiting for applause. She was moving. She's built like an engineer's equation, precise, balanced, intentional. Every bolt and plate of copper forming a message. Progress requires structure, and structure requires sacrifice. Look closely, her torch burns above her head, not in front of her. That's not guidance, that's declaration. She's saying, follow the light, if you dare but understand the cost. And at her feet, a broken shackle lies half hidden in the folds of her robe. Most people never notice it. That's not an accident, it's a warning. Freedom isn't about the chains we escape, it's about the ones we choose to carry. Imagine what it felt like for the first wave of immigrants approaching the harbor at dawn. The air thick with coal and salt, steamships bellowing smoke as they rose through fog. And there she was, the first thing they saw of America. Not a flag, not a president, but a woman holding fire. To them, she was salvation. But to those who built her, she was a mirror. A test of whether humanity could handle its own promises. Because the real story behind that statue isn't metal or myth. It's the weight of ideals when they become physical. It's the realization that the bigger your vision, the heavier it gets. Every civilization has a moment when it must decide whether it wants freedom, or whether it wants the responsibility that comes with it. 1886 was America's moment. Today, it's ours. And the question that still burns, as bright and heavy as that torch, is this. Are we carrying liberty, or are we just admiring it from a safe distance? When I first saw the Statue of Liberty in person, I didn't see a symbol of comfort. I saw a machine, massive, silent, perfectly engineered to outlast emotion. Her copper plates overlapping like armor. Her torch, a reactor core burning with moral energy. That's what people miss about liberty. It isn't supposed to make you feel safe. It's supposed to make you worthy. When I started Tesla, I thought freedom meant independence from oil, from pollution, from complacency. But freedom isn't subtraction, it's addition. The moment you free yourself from one limitation, you inherit a new obligation. Clean energy doesn't just liberate humanity, it binds it to stewardship. At SpaceX, we talk a lot about Mars. But it's not an escape plan. It's a responsibility plan. A promise that if life can expand, it should. But expansion without ethics is just colonization. The torch has to move forward, yes, but it also has to illuminate why. Lady Liberty's torch reminds me of that. It's not a flare of pride, it's a beacon of accountability. The first time our rockets exploded, people said we'd gone too far, too ambitious, too risky. But risk is the moral tax of progress. If you're not carrying that weight, you're not carrying the torch. Failure is the sound of responsibility in motion. Every explosion, every setback, is proof that we're still trying to lift something that matters. And maybe that's what Liberty has been trying to tell us all along, that leadership isn't about holding power, it's about holding weight. When I look at that statue, I see someone moving forward even when the wind is against her. I see that small step, right foot breaking the symmetry of her robe. Engineers know what that means. It's intentional imbalance. A design that implies momentum. The world only moves when something steps out of alignment. And yet her face, that face, calm, almost severe, not the expression of someone offering comfort but of someone making a demand. She's saying, "You wanted freedom? Fine, now prove you can handle it." I think that's the same challenge we face with technology. With AI, with the possibility of becoming a multi-planetary species. We love the idea of innovation, but innovation comes with moral gravity. Every neural link we implant, every rocket we launch, every algorithm we unleash, each one carries an ethical payload. The torch burns brighter, but so does the shadow it casts. Humanity doesn't evolve by chasing convenience. It evolves by accepting burden. Progress isn't a celebration, it's a responsibility audit. The Statue of Liberty doesn't just welcome, she warns. You want the light? Then stand the heat. And here's the part that hits hardest. She was built not by the people she inspired, but by people who hoped she might someday inspire someone better. The torch was never meant for them, it was meant for us. You can see it in her design, everything points upward, but everything is weighted downward. Copper fatigues under its own brilliance. It oxidizes, turns green, a chemical reminder that even ideals corrode if not maintained. That's why liberty is not a gift, it's a task. It's why progress feels heavy. It should. Because the future is supposed to test you. And now, as we stand on the edge of planetary civilization, I think the same principle applies. If we raise a statue on Mars one day, it shouldn't just be another symbol of triumph. It should be a torch of accountability. Because the moment you light a new world, you're responsible for everything that follows. Maybe the Statue of Liberty wasn't built to celebrate what humanity had achieved. Maybe she was built to remind us what we hadn't yet earned. The torch is heavy, its weight is the price of hope. Liberty's face is not one of comfort, but of resolve. And responsibility is the true foundation beneath every monument to freedom. So, maybe we shouldn't look up at her and ask, what does she stand for? Maybe we should ask, what are we still standing for? If you believe the future isn't just about what we invent, but what we protect. If you believe every flame we ignite carries a duty to those still standing in the dark, then keep listening. Because the next torch humanity lifts won't be made of copper. It'll be powered by consciousness. And it'll burn for everyone, or for no one. Do we still carry the weight of what we light? Do we still remember that freedom is only real when it's shared? And when our next statue rises on another world, will it stand for liberty or for responsibility?